Heidi Ho coming at you with Maine's Lunch. I don't know if this has become an iconic IPA in New England, but it was one of the first that was hard to get your hands on at stores 10 plus years ago. They'd have to keep it behind the counter, be like one per person, and you wouldn't see it on draft very much. But it's not really a hazy New England IPA. Maybe it's somewhat of a precursor to that, but it's not. It's more of like an East Coast interpretation of a West Coast IPA, and I think it's what they say on the Wikipedia page, or the Untappd or profile for this. It's a 7% IPA. This was bottled October 1st, so that means it's exactly 10 days in the bottle, and that's one thing that Lunch has going for it, is that you rarely see really old bottles. It's named after a whale that had a bite taken out of its fin. They didn't really tell you much else about the beer, actually. I should have looked up the hops. And one cool thing is I'm quite sure that most of Maine Beer Company's beers are bottle conditioned, which almost no one does that with IPAs. So you got a really nice head and carbonation, but somehow they're able to release them, really fresh. But they don't really advertise them as bottle conditioned, but I'm quite sure that a lot of them are. I could be wrong. That explains why they're still doing the 500 ml bottles, and they're still successful, even though these are a little bit bigger than a tall can. So if you multiply the price of this by 4, it's the most expensive IPA in the country, retail. But people still buy it, and it works for them. But I would drink a lot more of this, especially I would drink a lot of Peeper if they would put and do a 4-pack for like $15. But there you go. As you can see, it has a little bit of haze to it and a little bit of darker orange color. The lighting here isn't great for this, but I can definitely see my finger through it pretty easily. But I'm getting a lot of glare. And you can see the head is still sticking around. It looks kind of like a bottle conditioned head. It's not super carved like a Belgian beer, but you can see the nice little tiny bubbles coming from the bottom. And their beers always form really nice heads. And I'm smelling it already. I'm pretty sure this uses a little bit of some wheat and a little bit of some caramel malt, but the malt is not what you're going to smell. You're going to smell intense Centennial, Columbus, Cascade. Simcoe definitely is in there. Maybe Amarillo. It smells really good. This is probably the closest thing to Russian River IPAs, but those are a lot more bitter, I would say. And Russian River also is a brewery that stuck with the 500 ml and been successful with that. And it smells very good. It smells like not the sort of thing that a lot of New England IPAs are going for these days. Orange and pine, grassy, a little bit of caramel malt, just a little bit. And it smells like sticky, sweet, bitter citrus, but also sticky, sweet, dank. I think they even mentioned that there's a hint of onion garlic, which I don't really get exactly that, but there is a kind of allium thing, but it's more of like a candied citrus with a hint of caramel, cooked, baked citrus or something like that. It smells really good. It smells super clean, so not much yeast esters stuff happening here. And there is some bitterness to it, but nothing like a torpedo or even a blind pig from Russian River. I mean, Sierra Nevada Torpedo and Russian River Blind Pig IPAs. Yeah, it's Probably uses a yeast strain that's kind of like Sierra Nevada's, but it doesn't have that kind of mass-produced thing and sort of generic apricot ester. I mean, it's a little bit of that, but this is better. It's cleaner. It seems like it's leaning way more on hops than yeast for the flavor. I'm not noticing much yeast. I mean, it's definitely in there. This is very nice. I wonder if like Fathead's Headhunters, anything like this. I've never had any Fathead beers, but they win a million awards, especially for their West Coast IPA. And I wonder if this is sort of like that. And it had this probably almost too cold, and it's still fantastic. And like the whole bottle conditioning thing, I'm wondering if you can see the bubbles sort of come up when I move. It just, it's not super highly carb. It's not really a lively carbonation. I mean, I guess it's sort of lively, but it just never gives up. And we keep this head. And that just makes the beer more expressive in general. Kind of like if you have some American brewed Belgian beer that's force carbed versus a Belgian beer that's naturally carbonated, bottle conditioned. The one that's bottle conditioned with that natural carbonation in the bottle, it's always going to seem more expressive. Everything's just going to be more out there and more, obviously more fizzy, nice mouthfeel. And there's some body to it. There's some body and sweetness. But it's not syrupy. Like some West Coast IPAs can be kind of very sweet. This one doesn't. And the mouthfeel, because of the natural carb, I assume it is, it's a little bit less soft maybe than it could be. But I don't mind it. It just makes it finish really dry and clean. But there isn't that lingering intense bitterness that builds up like a West Coast IPA, or especially like Stone or Sierra Nevada Torpedo. Yeah, I really like it. I don't get Maine beer very often because it is kind of expensive. There's a million other things, but their consistency and quality is just extremely high. That's probably why they're still successful in this really weird format. I bought this at Trader Joe's, and they had cases and cases of this that was bottled 10 days ago, and that's pretty cool. So for a rating, it's weird. I almost never drink beers like this because a lot of breweries that are making West Coast IPAs, they're garbage, or you can't find them fresh. At least a lot of local breweries in the Northeast area. So it's hard for me to compare this to anything except for like Sierra Nevada, which I get occasionally if I see it fresh. Guess I should get Deschutes. Deschutes just started sending stuff here, and it'd be interesting to try Fresh Squeeze. I think that's more of a Citra one. This one does not have Citra. It's more old-fashioned hops, but doing it in a very approachable, fruity way. So I'm thinking a 4.5. Maybe even 4.6.